Why do Americans and British people all speak English, but use so many different words for the same things? It's one language, but it feels like two versions of reality. Today, we're going to explore some of the most common vocabulary differences between British and American English. Welcome back to Lina English Studio. Let's get started. British people eat crisps. Americans eat potato chips. British people eat sweets. Americans eat candy. British people wear trousers. Americans wear pants. British people say toilet. Americans say bathroom or restroom. British people throw rubbish in the bin. Americans throw trash in the can. British people live in a flat. Americans live in an apartment. British people take a taxi. Americans take a cab. British people go on holiday. Americans go on vacation. British people take the lift. Americans take the elevator. British people live in a house with a garden. Americans live in a house with a yard. British people go to the cinema. Americans go to the movies. British people say autumn. Americans say fall. British people put petrol in their car. Americans put gas. British people park in a car park. Americans park in a parking lot. British people queue. Americans wait in line. British people drive on the motorway. Americans drive on the freeway. British people use taps. Americans use faucets. British people wear trainers. Americans wear sneakers. British children wear jumpers. American children wear sweaters. British people use a mobile phone. Americans use a cell phone. British people use toilet roll. Americans use toilet paper. British people use a rubber to erase. Americans use an eraser. British people say windscreen. Americans say windshield. British people walk on the pavement. Americans walk on the sidewalk. British people use torches. Americans use flashlights. British people keep clothes in a wardrobe. Americans keep them in a closet. British people follow a timetable. Americans follow a schedule. British people drive through a roundabout. Americans drive through a traffic circle. British people take the underground or tube. Americans take the subway. British people ride the underground train. Americans ride the subway train. British people use a spanner. Americans use a wrench. British people wear a swimming costume. Americans wear a bathing suit. British people wear tights. Americans wear pantyhose. British babies wear nappies. American babies wear diapers. British babies use dummies. American babies use pacifiers. British people use a tea towel. Americans use a dish towel. British people eat courgette. Americans eat zucchini. British people eat aubergine. Americans eat eggplant. British people cook on a cooker. Americans cook on a stove. British people use a postcode. Americans use a zip code. British people push a shopping trolley. Americans push a shopping cart. British people go to the chemist. Americans go to the drugstore. British people buy alcohol at an off-license. Americans buy it at a liquor store. British people wear a waistcoat. Americans wear a vest. As you can see, the differences are everywhere from food to transport to clothing. But don't worry, whether you speak British or American English, you're still speaking English, just with a little twist. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And let me know in the comments, do you prefer British English or American English? See you next time on Lina English Studio.